Hi there, I'm Michael Wolfson. I'll be moderating this exciting conversation between Drew and Alon. Drew, why don't we just start off with some background about yourself, how you got to start Deliverzen, and what you're trying to do here and build with Deliverzen.
Yeah, we're a third-party logistics company focused on e-commerce and retail fulfillment. Started in 2017, built up that company underneath the parent company, broke away in January of 2021. Went from 18,000 square feet to 34,000 square feet, and now we are here in our DZ HQ3, we've been calling it, in 164,000 square feet, fully climate-controlled facility. We focus on cosmetics, wellness, integrative health, and life sciences products. And our mission is to deliver the best service in order fulfillment industry.
Perfect. And Alon, CEO of Octup, can you give a quick background, introduce yourself, how you started Octup?
Yeah, of course. First, Drew, excited to be here. It's an amazing facility. Listen, I've been in many 3PLs, and this is one of the nicer that I ever been. The team here is great, so
Thank you.
well done. Yeah, so about myself, I'm in this industry over 10 years. I founded my own D2C business back in 2017. Did one of the biggest campaign ever been done in design category in Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And this is kind of when I grow into the space. I've been everything this industry have to offer, from supply chain issues, extreme growth, over financing, COVID, etc. And kind of from my experience as a D2C owner, I realized how much is challenging and frustrating to manage the logistics side of the business. In the peak kind of season, we have 4 fulfillment centers globally, and 1 in Hong Kong, 2 in the US, and 1 in Europe. And it always a black box for me personally. I just didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Package was, getting stuck. You get bills all over the place. Inventory overstack, under kind of inventory in a sense. And as an entrepreneur, I always thought this might be a better way to manage my operation. And this is where the idea of Octup kind of come into life in a sense. To solve a major pain point in the last mile and the 3PL space, to provide better visibility, a better kind of command center to manage this part of the business in a sense. So this is what we're doing today, kind of help with 3PLs and brand to get more visibility, to better manage their operation and last mile area of the business.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for the intros. Before we kind of jump into kind of Deliverzen and Octup and how you guys are working together in the partnership, I want to talk a little bit about kind of the 3PL space, where you see it going and all those things. So kind of, Drew, can you talk a little bit about from when you started, or even since 2021 when you broke off till now, how you've seen that kind of space change, adjust, stuff like that?
It's crazy. So I don't come from logistics, so I can't consider myself the pro to talk about the transitions of the industry. I can speak from a high level. I would say about 10 years ago, it looked like the industry was super antiquated. You kind of had a lot of great companies. A lot of them are still around. A lot of great companies that are very enterprise levels, right? So like 3PL wasn't even really, like, it was a name. 20 years ago wasn't even really nothing. 10 years ago it started happening, but it was like, they were still there, I guess, about 15 years ago. But very large companies that focused on enterprise types brands and never really focused on that SMB type, that role. And then about 10 years ago, I think you started seeing companies starting to step into the space. A lot of warehouses started coming out of nowhere. And since then, we obviously had that 2020 boom with e-com fulfillment that happened. Everybody's ordering online, all that good stuff. And things are starting to dwindle down a little bit now. Just because what's happening is there's a lot of attrition happening, whether that's through acquisition or just companies that are failing. Just business and what happens when you have opportunities and people take chances, and that's where it goes. So right now in 2025, it's going to be there. You're going to see a lot of attrition, probably, right? A lot of companies are going to get either kind of consolidated up or maybe not be successful, whatever it may be. It's you're building businesses the way it is. There's going to be a lot of transitions in e-commerce world. E-commerce is going to boom. That's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
That's for, like, I think I saw a McKinsey report talking about how it's going to be even bigger than like AI is next 30, 20 years or so. It's going to be massive. It's not going to slow down. People are still going to be ordering online on what that looks like. But we're going to see some massive hits coming in with AI. Just everybody talks about it, but AI is definitely going to impact e-com. You see now Shopify is doing AI commerce, which is cool. You see, you can check out inside of ChatGPT, Grok. They're doing all of them. I know for a fact Shopify is doing every single AI checkout platform, every single AI platform that's out there. They're working with all of them, which is awesome. But that's going to affect branding. That's going to affect how our SMB businesses, e-com business seen, other than just the big Goliaths. So who knows what's going to happen with that? I don't exactly know how that works inside of AI world, but that will affect us, right? It affects the 3PL space because those are the customers we serve. I'd say about 90% of the customers out there, across not just us, but across the entire 3PL space, are SMB, e-com, and retail brands. So how you're building out your model inside of our space really matters about customer diversification. So not just having brands that are shipping 1, 2, 3,000, 4,000 orders a month, but you having a few brands in there at least in one facility, multi-brand facilities. If you're doing that, 3 or 4 brands that are shipping 10, 20, 30,000 orders a month, kind of building out the customer diversification a little bit. Getting those agreements in place where you're delivering that best service so that those brands are coming working with you. I think what's going to end up happening is, price is always a factor, especially in ours when there's 20,000 competitors out there doing what we do. There's a bunch of guys out there. You can always find a cheaper place to do it. I do think that price is not going to increase at all, but I think quality is going to be a higher demand, especially when it comes with AI and it comes with robotics. Robotics in the future is going to be hard, but AI initially, AI is allowing us to be a lot more lean. So it's allowing us to be really a lot more operationally flexible so that we can really keep our margins where they need to be while giving great prices for our customers or competitive pricing. And we're not the only ones that are taking advantage of that. So when you see the pivot over the past 20 years, you kind of go from the enterprise 3PLs, and you kind of have this boom of 3PLs like us that kind of, I started in 2021 or 2017, but really 2021. All these guys kind of come onto the scene, and there's 20,000 of us out there focusing on fulfillment and what we're doing. But then you kind of pivot into now what we're seeing now. It's not just social commerce anymore. We're selling online, Instagram, or e-com, or Facebook. It's AI. Like that's going to hit over and take over, which will trickle down to what we serve, which is 70% of our business that we serve are going to be those e-com brands. Yeah. So there's a factor of what that looks like. And for us, we're trying to grow and scale with AI as we build it out so that we can kind of deliver that quality at a really good competitive price.
So I totally agree. I think that we are in the middle of revolution of what's going on in the world, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And this revolution will not skip the logistics space. And, it's already implemented in the e-commerce space. Yeah. So, people are already talking about the next billion-dollar company that only one person. Yeah. And I totally see it happening in the e-commerce space that, young guy with a very strong marketing skills can build a huge brand with only using AI tools. And I seeing that right now, the place that we're going is the AI will become more and more major part in the logistics space. Yeah. So we and Octup are already implementing the AI solution to help to change the way the 3PL are communicating with their data, to change the way that they're doing prediction, that they're doing analysis, that they're proactively manage their whole operation. And it will create a different level of efficiency to speed all of this process. So I totally see AI going more and more deeper into operation, to logistic. If it's like, the last mile area of pick and pack and accuracy to get all the data to create prediction about inventory planning.
Solutioning.
And labor optimization, etc. And also in the last mile. Everything going in the last mile in the shipping area, cost optimization. Yeah. How much it's challenging for you guys to assign the relevant carrier and to make sure that you're providing the best service to your client, but also the most cost-effective solution, right? Yeah. It's always a challenge. So definitely I believe, will change the way the 3PL are operating in terms of efficiency, make them much more efficient, much more profitable. So totally agree. I think that we are in the middle of revolution in a sense that I don't even know that we realize how much it will change our life.
Yeah, it's going to change, and it's going to affect a lot of business, a lot of logistics companies, just because there will be enterprise companies that have been around for 50 years, 30, long time, great companies that are going to struggle with it. And then there's going to be a lot of companies that are in our wheelhouse that are going to be struggling with it as well, or it's going to separate the weed from the chaff almost. Mm-hmm. Like it's a factor, and if you're not taking it in now, you got.
And how are you what are you doing to kind of prepare for that for Deliverzen?
Yeah, so initially right off the rip is just making sure everybody's comfortable with it. A lot of people, first when you talk about AI, people are fearful of the jobs, rightfully so. It's understandably so. People don't know how to use it. It's like, hey, how do we work this thing? What's the interface look like? Is the data right? So some things we're doing on our side is we're making sure we're ensuring that our data is clean as possible. We got Cleaford Innocent on our team that's building out a whole server that we're building here to have all of our own control of our own data so that we can plug in outside bots or outside AI, whatever it is, to feed off of our servers, cloud-based as well. So we're backed up on that side of it, but we want to control our data. So that's one. Make sure everybody's comfortable with it is two. Three, getting super familiar with just using the publicly out there, the publicly available ones, ChatGPT or Grok, whatever it is, how to use those platforms, communicating with it, talking with it, because those things are getting dialed. I mean, what was it? How long ago was it? 2 years ago when it first launched or so? And now I think everybody's using it. I use it for search. I don't even use the mainstream platforms. I use ChatGPT and Grok to search.
Don't even forget how to Google thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I do it all the time. It comes up. I did it 15 times today. But we're using it too. Some proprietary ideas I'm not going to put out there publicly because it is competitive advantage stuff what we're doing. Other people are going to come across it. It's something new, but we're doing it inside with just on our, even on the service side, on the prospecting side, on the business intelligence side that we're doing that y'all are somewhat familiar with some of it. And there's some other things that we're just now talking about over this past weekend that we'll probably bring to the page and try to build up as well alongside Octup and what you guys have built now. So really just getting everybody comfortable with it because 12 months from now, we will be running full speed with it. 24 months from now, it'll be, it's going to be thinking for a lot of operations.
Yeah.
So.
And from your side, I guess, I know you've spoken to a bunch of 3PLs, obviously speak with Drew a lot. What do you think they can do to get prepared? And also how is Octup kind of helping them bridge that gap to get ready for this revolution?
I think it starts with the mindset of how we're looking at ourselves as, data-based companies or data-oriented, and how much you want to be open to new technology. In the end, the technology is very simple to use, very self-explanatory in a sense. And I think Drew mentioned about the data quality, and this is a very important part on the operational side because the operation and specifically the 3PL market using a lot of fragmented systems, right? You need to use OMS, WMS, TMS, spreadsheet, you name it. And it's bringing kind of the data operation to be much difficult to track and to analyze. And I think one of the main things that we in Octup realized in the first day that we started to build our infrastructure, that we need to build a very strong, a very unique data layer that not only combine all of the data sources, but make them talk to each other, analyze them in a way that they're speaking the 3PL language. I would say that we speak the language, right? But it's super important to understand not only taking data from one place to another, but also to understand how to analyze the data, how to translate the data in a way that is actionable, that you can easily use the data to operate better. And I think AI will be efficient only if this infrastructure will be flawless, if this infrastructure of data will be able to provide the relevant insight, and then the AI will give you much powerful tool to expose the data, to get what you need to conduct actions. But the foundation of of all of this infrastructure need to be the data. And this is exactly what we are focusing in Octup in a sense on this data layer. And this what gives us the option to build many applications on top of this data. If it's the AI, if it's the analytics, if it's the billing automation that we are working on, etc., etc. And data is the key. Data is the new gold in a sense. In where we are living today. So I believe the 3PLs that will be smarter through to understand that this is the where that they need to go to formalize data, to work more organized in a sense, will be able to scale faster, to be more efficient, and to be more profitable. And this is the key, right? You want to manage profitable business in the end of the day. And so data is the key, data quality is the key, data integrity is the key. And on top of it, you can put, many applications, many engines and stuff. But I think that as a technology company, it's very, very clear where we need to focus on.
Drew, you talked a little bit about how from the customer side, because I think we talked a lot about the internal side, how you can use AI and data and analytics to better improve your internal operations. But from the customer-facing side, I think one thing you mentioned was about how the race for the lowest price is not really a winning strategy for getting these brands. It's about service differentiation, how you're going to perform for them. So I guess from a technology side of that, how are you kind of leveraging technology to better serve your customers, better give them visibility, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can't build greatness without great people, and you got to have the tools to make sure that you are equipping those people to build greatness. And so technology is a huge piece of that. We have a number of suppliers. Our tech stack is probably pretty diverse. But what we've done is intentionally, since day one in the company, is ensure that we find the right technology. And I'll tell you this much. When you find the right software suppliers, it has allowed us to tremendously grow. We've onboarded, because of not necessarily Octup's come on recently, so I can't fully brag, give fully credit there, 100% on.
Give us some credit.
I'll give you some
credit.
You're gonna get credit on a lot of things, but the story here, there's just an example of how technology can exponentially scale your company. Is we transitioned an operational software that we have, and from then allowed me to have the freedom. Oh, it's a breath of fresh air. I know the data that we have is clean. I know that the processes are clean.
Technology is always the enabler.
Exactly.
For the growth,
Exactly. Right? It gave me a foundation where I knew our team was ready to go. I knew we had our IT team here as well. It's implementing all this. And we went and onboarded 25 customers in 10 months.
Wow.
And it was a whole different ballgame. So
Yeah.
being able to having a confident software partner, whatever solution that may be, has been massive. You got to have the right people in the right place, and then you got to give them the right tools to be able to scale. And then once you get that kind of set up, it allows you to go solve the next problems, which is going to be kind of the next phase of growth and where you're headed. So it's been massive for us.
Yeah, and Alon, you come from the brand side, so I know during your intro you talked about kind of the challenges with visibility you had, and I think some of what you were talking about there, the technology is helping decrease that kind of challenge. So what do you see from your side of being a brand and now a technology founder, how technology is needed to be used to kind of give you more visibility into your 3PL?
So it's a great question. I will start and say that following to what Drew mentioned, I always say to my client that we are services provider, but we want to be your partner. We're going to sell you partnership, not a service. And I think specifically in the 3PL industry, it's super important because each one of them have his own need, his own edge cases. And we want to go with our partners a long way to provide them what they need in a sense. And we build our company and our solution that it's agile and it can be adjustable per client. And it's related to what you mentioned about how 3PL can basically create a transparency, not just internally for the 3PL himself, but also externally to the client. Because all of these kind of pain points come from my experience as a D2C owner, right? I never have a clue what's going on in my last mile area. Never have the clue which order are delayed, which are stuck, if they meet the SLA, what is the percentage. I remember myself getting the invoices, like the details Excel invoices. They were so massive that they crushed my computer. I didn't even be able to open the Excel in my computer, and to understand how much you're paying and on what, it was for me impossible, not even a challenge. And I always felt, I don't know, are they charging me what they needed? Maybe they're charging me more than what we agreed. I didn't have the option to know that. So for me to create the transparency for the brand is not only for the brand to understand what's going on in that business, to manage their operation, but also to create the trust, right? Because also the relationship between the 3PL and the brand need to feel comfortable that he get the full picture, that he know how much he's paying in real time, that he know that his provider meeting the SLA. And we always say in Octup that sometimes you heard that you have 15 orders that didn't delay the shipped in time, right? That shipped, I don't know, in delay, and you can get mad and you can say, wow, my 3PL is not doing a good job, etc. But when you see the full picture, when you see that it's only 15 orders from 6,000 ordered and ship on time, it's giving you the perspective that you need to be able to get the full picture. And I think in 2025, where we are today, provider that will not be able to create this transparency, we have a very hard time to maintain this relationship. And I think specifically in this competitive environment, that everyone trying to find their competitive advantage, to create this trust, this partnership that you want to do with your client is super important in every aspect of the business, right? Drew, I know that in Deliverzen is one of your core value as a business. So I'm happy that with Octup, we kind of help you to create this transparency
Absolutely.
to your clients. So this
Yeah, the day one when I started talking to Mikey, a year ago or so, maybe, it was his early days Octup stuff, right? You guys were kind of doing more, y'all were serving brands morely, right? And I was like, hey, look, I love that serving brands. I will pay for this on behalf for our brands to get this because I wanted that transparency. I was like, look, I want to them, because I like the industry is so notorious for just all the little hidden fees and stuff. And I was like, look, we have the same models they got. Like we have similar models they what they got. We're not hiding nothing here. But I want to make sure you guys know we are delivering. We are getting these orders out on time. If we miss something, here it is. We're gonna fix it. Here's what we're charging for. Here's our carriers, our work, everything. And so since then, it's been super collaborative because I think these guys, like their whole mission was to make sure that y'all came into it from a brand perspective. And how can we pull data out of the 3PL to hold them accountable? Like there's like that's reality. Like it's true. Like hold them accountable. Make sure your supply chain set up. Have all this because operators could hide behind everything. Well, I came from that same side of on the operator side. I was like, I don't want to hide stuff. I like this is your product. Like, why would I not tell you what we're doing? So it's like I want to show you. We're getting every order out when we say we do. If we mess up, we're gonna own it, fix it, whatever it is. I want you to see all the questions that you have on invoicing because yes, carry invoicing. I mean, it gets super complex, and Octup's building out all their invoicing side, which is really cool and clean. Can show you here's what we're charging you for. Here's why we're doing it. We do weekly conversations with our customers, and Octup's empowering a lot of that. Quarterly business reviews coming up, and Octup's really enabling us to be able to show them at a quick level dashboard. They don't even have to wait for the quarterly business review anymore. They can do it themselves.
Yeah.
We do those all the time anyway because we're always staying in front of them. But Octup's kind of empowered with that almost. I don't want to oversell this, but it's in real time almost.
Oversell it, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. In real time data right there that they can look into and pull it from our systems directly, integrating into there. Combine that with your own marketing spend and your CAC and ROAS and all the stuff that you're doing on the marketing side from Shopify, whatever platform you're on. It's really in my eyes, when I look at Octup, I'm like, man, if you're working a brand, it's like you need to find a tool like this to kind of bring it all into one for you. Almost all of it. I can't, oversell it again, but almost all into one for you guys. It keeps it real clean. It allows us to have a really breath of fresh air relationship with our brands because when they come to us, it's like it really mends that relationship in a way that's like, hey, if something happens, we're not going to lose a brand just because we missed an order. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to mess up. We want you to see that. Like, we're going to bring it to you. You can see it whenever you log in. That's where we're building with Octup is to be that fully transparent. Here's what we say we're committing to, and if we mess it up, you're going to know it from the get-go.
And I want to tell you, Drew, that you saying that like it's an obvious thing, right? But this is part of your core value. But we're speaking with many 3PLs, and some of them, say like openly, we don't want our clients to see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not our best interest. And I believe, and we always, me and Mikey are thinking with each other that we don't think it's the best approach because I think that.
Well, we live in a day, man, like, I'll interrupt you there.
No.
The biggest reason is we live in a day where we've all grown up. I'm 36, whatever. But like we've grown up, it's like we expect it to be easy, smooth, and just open. And we've been so deceived by so much software and all these things out there. It's like, look, I don't want that. I wouldn't want that as a customer. It's like, why? I'd rather do business with guys on a handshake deal. Like, yes be yes and your no be no. And I think you guys have come into the play of being like, this is what we're doing. This means something. We're going to show it out there. You see our facility. There's a reason why it's as clean as it is because I want people to walk in at any point in time they want. You walk in the door, your inventory's here. You don't have to tell us. You're welcome. Come on. It's your product, whatever it is. We're not sitting here holding it off of you guys. Build that partnership. So yeah, we live in a day now where it's like, if you're not being transparent and genuine and real, people aren't going to work.
It's kind of the evolution of 3PLs in a sense, and maybe it wasn't available.
No, it's a different day and age, man. Yeah.
And I think that Drew mentioned something important. We in Octup, when we just started, we started from the brand side, right? So we want to create visibility for the brand. So we have basically two sides of the platform, right? We have the partner platform that we are providing 3PL. We kind of command center or operating system for their operation. And we have the external platform that 3PL providing to their clients. And because we started from the external platform, we built something that is very unique, that not only provide visibility and transparency to the brand, but also give them tons of value as a fully operational platform to manage their operation. So you can connect like dozens of integrations, like from your commerce platform to marketing to ops, etc., and to get full visibility about the operational side of business. And as a brand, you for the first time, and I'm telling you, this was my biggest challenge. What is my real gross margin? If I'm losing money or I have a profit, sometimes just rolling around, you're selling, you're doing high discount, etc. But in the end of the day, maybe in this product you're doing a huge margin, but the other one you're just losing money. And because we have all of the data points, we know exactly how much is the cost on the operational side, how much is the cost for the marketing side. We can give the brand not only the visibility that they need, but also the powerful tool to better manage their operation to be more profitable. So I think the combination of two sides of the equation, in a sense, creating something super powerful that providing value to both sides and taking all of the operational to the next step of where it's supposed to be, in a sense. So definitely kind of super important from the brand side. And I wish I had this kind of tool back then. I needed to work with spreadsheet and
So
to
true.
crazy integration, and it was
It's crazy. There's still 3PLs working off spreadsheets, so
Yeah.
it's nuts.
A lot of
a lot of them.
It's scary.
But we're gonna change it. Don't worry. Give us a few years.
we
That's right.
we talked about kind of when you're going to prospects or whatever about the price thing, how that's not, you're going to give them a fair price, but you don't want to win off price. You want to win off of your service, your promise, and
quality.
stuff like that. I think what I've seen from you, and I want you to kind of touch on this, is that you don't only talk the talk, you say we're going to give you these tools and platforms so to show you we're walking the walk, to show you that this is happening.
Yeah.
How has that been able to change how you have these kind of sales conversations where you have this background of core technology that can enable that?
I think for us, when we're selling, prospects, I tell our sales reps, like we never fib. Like we are who we are, right? Like we're not. When we were in 18,000 square feet, it's like, hey, we have 18,000 square feet. If we're in 34,000 square feet, we got 34,000 square feet. Now we have there's a lot more open space that we can fill up right now. But it's like, hey, we are who we are. This is the services we do. This is the commitment we're making to you. This is how we're going to do it. Here's the technology that shows it to you, right? Like that's the biggest thing. And I think coming from that perspective, early on, it was hard to compete, right? Because it's like I can get on a phone call or a sales call or whatever it is with anybody and say, yeah, here's your, it didn't sound right. Whereas a sales rep for another company might be selling really well, the same, similar services or whatever it is. Whereas now it's like I can get on there and like I'm going to be me, empowered by, no, here's the data. No, I'm actually going to show you if we don't do it, you're going to see it. Like this isn't like this is integrated to all of our systems we got. You're going to see it all right in front of you at your fingertips. And I think being able to spell it out visually to a prospect, to a customer like that, really builds a little more trust in the sales process, which has been nice. And I think it's been huge to help close some deals. We're super picky about who we work with nowadays. We don't just take anybody and everybody anymore. And so for us to really find the right customer, those customers are the ones that are really in on that as well. And typically those customers are going to be pretty level-headed, pretty like, okay, yes, great, I want this. They know they're building that relationship right off the rip, which is nice. And so that keeps it open and honest and transparent.
Nice. And I guess kind of looking towards the future a little more, and maybe I'll start with Octup and then go towards Deliverzen. Alon, from your side, where do you see kind of Octup going with how we talked about the industry the next little bit? And then I guess also to Drew, where do you want to see as a customer Octup going and helping you with some of the challenges?
So we discussed about it before. I think that in Octup we realized that the market is fully fragmented, and this is one of the main challenges today for a 3PL, but also for a brand to get the full picture. So we set the base to create the data infrastructure that now give us super powerful position to build and to implement a very advanced technology on top of that. So, we talked about AI, but I definitely see AI already changing the way the 3PL are communicating with the data, operating. You think about it that you have many applications and you can, from one source, communicate with each one of them. And if individual client want to put an order on hold or want to add item, it don't need to reach out to the 3PL to open a ticket and can just do it manually from the AI agent. Or if you want to, plan your inventory or inventory location, if you want to plan your labor, all of this day-to-day operation will be much efficient with AI. The AI will give the powerful of the data kind of to empower the way 3PL are operating. So AI will definitely change the way that we are operating as a human being, but also as a logistic provider, and also as a brand. I think that we're going to see more and more cloud-based application that solving the fragmented problem of seamless integration. In Octup today, we work very hard to create a seamless integration. Click, and you're in. Drew can tell you how much is painful to implement other system. We see also legacy systems that is on premise sometime, that is very hard to implement, taking a lot of time, super costly. So we're gonna see more new generation of operation tools that is cloud-based, that providing more seamless integration across also supply chain. And on top of that, of course, real-time visibility, right? Real-time visibility is the key, both internally and externally, because if we don't have this visibility, and we don't have those actionable insight, we cannot be better. So I think that either way, we're going to see kind of a new generation of logistic. I think it's will be here soon that we think that would change the way that a logistic provider are operating and providing services in at the end of the day.
And Drew, I guess where do you want to see working with Octup, knowing what they do now? Where do you kind of
Yeah.
want to see it going and continuing to help your business?
The coolest thing about we have a few partners. We've had a number of partners that we work with intentionally, right? We're an operations company. We're a service company. That's what we do. We're operations fulfillment. That's what we're going to focus on. We're not a tech company. So, what we do is want to bring the best guys around us. So we've worked with multiple different other partners out there in different phases of the business, different careers. Octup's been the best to work with as far as flexibility and growth and taking what we're looking to build. And the reason I started that way is because we worked with Octup initially. It was more brand side. Now they're ops side. Over the past 8 to 10 months, they've been really building a dive into that ops side, which has been super nice. And us being like right there tied to the hip with them a little bit, being able to really pull into that and say, hey, here's what we're looking at. Here's operations. Here's data that we're trying to pull out. Here's the metrics that we want to see on the internal side. Here's the metrics that we want the customers to make sure that they have everything on that side. Obviously, because warehouse metrics, we don't want them seeing all warehouse metrics because there are things that overlap with their customers that you can't share. There's proprietary information. And then there's information that's dedicated just to them. Make sure they see that same stuff that translates to them, which is super nice. And so being able to see the future of that, where I would love to see that is that consolidated data coming together to be able to build out. This is what I didn't really want to share too much, but being able to build out operational forecasting. Not just forecasting, but that's obvious one. There's so much within inside of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's due diligence, there's solutioning, and the envision of Deliverzen is to build a company build a company like an enterprise company at a very different, more lean model. Like that's what we're trying to do. And so if we're able to start at the young age and be agile right now, bring in the right partners like Octup, we're able to help pour into what they're doing. They bring around inside, they fix problems, they're super responsive. It's tying in here's my vision of what I want to get. Here's the bots that I want to build. Here's the data that we need to make it happen. We're storing it here. We have it cleaned out of here. How do we work our IT team with you guys, with Octup on the same side to generate this end task of what we're trying to get? And they're super responsive. I can go into detail of that, but
I think that this is where the partnership side of us come into the place, because we set the goal as the company to help 3PL to move faster, to be lighter, and in a perfect sync across the 3PL industry, right? So to touch in every aspect of the business and to provide value.
Yeah.
And we can do that only because we're working very closely with our partners in a sense. So I think to listen to your client, to work very closely with them, and not to tell them, this is the platform, take it or leave it, this is what we can offer, and decide if you want to work with us or not. No, this is not our approach. Our approach is to work very closely with them, to listen to the industry need and to adjust accordingly. And I think this approach gives us to a place that we first, we speak the 3PL language, we know their pain points.
Yeah.
We're trying to be very fast, to be very agile, and to give them what they need in a sense to make their operation better, more efficient, and to do better business. And I think specifically in the logistics space, it's super valuable because as Drew mentioned, there are many use cases, right? There are many kind of things that you want to show, you don't want to show, how you're measuring stuff, cutoff date, SLA, holidays, whatever. And we as a company need to be very, very kind of focused and to provide each one of our clients what they need. So there I believe that we'll be able to build something very unique.
Where now we talk about Octup kind of in the future. I think you mentioned this briefly, but you guys have quickly been able to go like 18,000, 30,000 to now 120,000. 164, short end view. So where do you kind of see the next step for Deliverzen? What are you trying to do over the next 1-3 years?
Yeah, next 1 to 3 years, I want to be multi-site. We have revenue goals that we want to get to while maintaining profitability, steady control growth. And so my whole thing is looking at where I'm weak, which is me personally. I'm not an operations guy, so we got a heck of an operations team coming here. So now it allows me to kind of build out that vision and go execute on being multi-site. We don't want to just service what we're doing. We want to make sure that we can offer the best service in order fulfillment. Order fulfillment starts at customer checkout. It ends when that customer opens the door. So there's a lot of pieces in that puddle that are just more than actual fulfillment of shipping and managing warehouses. So we're trying to build out those best partnerships across the board. Octup being one of those, Final Mile Carriers, Deliverzen Network being one of those, multi-node facilities. We have partners across the US that we're using. Ultimately, we want to build our own across the US and international as well. So definitely expansion. We don't want to just be one site here in Dallas when we multi-site in the US, and then more than likely, and not in the 3 years, but international sites of our own as well, probably 5 years or so from now.
Amazing.
Yeah. Or what do you want to see from us as a company, maybe?
Well, I want Octup to explode. I want
explode.
Yeah, I want
okay.
Octup to. I want you to get continue the growth that you're on, the trajectory that you guys are doing. The vision seems great. I think the cool thing about when you work with guys that are let me clarify this. The cool thing that when you work with people that are building great tools, they're not about making money fast. They're about making sure building quality. I think the mindset that you guys have had at Octup has been more about ensuring the quality of the partnership, so that in the future it can be a great tool in the long run.
And I want to tell you personally that you as a company and you personally is a key part of our success.
Yeah, thank you.
And the reason for that is that you always need the other side to work with you. They give you the feedback, even if it sometimes is not like the feedback that you want to hear, right? But this feedback is give you the option to grow, is to be better. And I think this is super important to us, to work with people like you that see this as a partnership in a sense. So we can give more to you as a client, but you can also kind of give your perspective, your approach, your idea, and we try to implement it as soon as possible. And I totally agree. Kind of the relationship side is super important.
Yeah.
Me personally, as individual, I kind of very like to work with the people from the industry, specifically with you and your team.
Yeah,
you have an amazing team here that we really like to work with. So I think it's an amazing partnership. Looking forward for a long, profitable kind of relationship in the future, and to do great things together.
I love it. Let's rock.
Good luck.
Let's go.
Amazing.
Thanks, NNC.